Hi everyone, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Kayla Tenedorio-Cardi and I'm the host for today's webinar about the AutoCAD web app. Joining us today is our presenter Shaun Bryant, who will introduce himself shortly. Before that, I would like to cover a few things. First, let's review our safe harbor statement. So during the course of this presentation, we may make statements regarding future events and developments, and we want to caution you that these statements reflect our current expectations. Things can change, so these are not intended to be a promise or guarantee of future product deliveries, and you should not make purchase decisions based solely on these statements. And the information in this presentation is as of this particular date and time, so please keep that in mind. A few housekeeping notes. First, the audio for today's presentation is only supported through your computer's speaker system. So anytime you have issues, please try refreshing your browser or switching browsers. We will have time at the end of the presentation for questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and submit them in the questions section of the control panel at any time. And finally, we will be recording today's webinar presentation, which will be sent out via email after the event. And with that, it brings me great pleasure to pass it over to Shaun Bryant, who will be introducing himself.
Hello there, and hi from the UK. It's the afternoon over here. I know it's early morning over there. So who is this guy? Who am I? I'm the owner and lead consultant of CAD FM Consultants in the UK and owner of the blog Not Just CAD, written for various magazines and publications out there, and you may know me as a content author over on LinkedIn Learning. I develop most of their AutoCAD learning material. Also, I'm an AutoCAD and Revit consultant and trainer, Autodesk Expert Elite, Certiport Subject Matter Expert, AMD Subject Matter Expert, and I'm an AU Speaker Mentor and Speaker Emeritus for Autodesk University. 31 plus years of AutoCAD experience. In fact, it turned 32 this year, so I'm showing my age a little bit now. And I've got 10 plus years of Revit experience as well. And I dabble a little bit in a bit of rock and roll as well. So you may find me on iTunes and other outlets. Second album is currently under construction. And funnily enough, at AU a few years back, I was told that I sounded like the Geico Gecko. And being English, didn't have a clue what the Geico Gecko was. So I had to look it up on YouTube and lo and behold, discovered what the Geico Gecko was. And a couple of Autodeskers also regard me as the Ricky Gervais stunt double as well. I won't tell you who. We'll keep the names sort of hidden to protect the innocent, but hey, I think it's the accent and the beard that probably help a little bit there. So let's jump into what we're going to be doing today. Some of you may already be using full AutoCAD, the desktop AutoCAD, and you may have noticed now that you have these specialized tool sets that you can see on the screen at the moment. So you've got architecture toolset and so on. Also in that subscription, you get access to the AutoCAD web app. And why would you use it? Well, it's anywhere access when you're outside the office. You can get access to cloud-based files really quickly and easily. And the best bit about it is there's no local installation needed. You just open up your browser on your computer, log in using your Autodesk account, and you're in the AutoCAD web app, just like you can see there on that little laptop graphic. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take you through 10 things you need to know about the AutoCAD web app. So you can see the sign-in screen as the backdrop there. What I'd like you to think about as we go through today's presentation is how you can view, edit, and create in a browser absolutely anywhere. So there's your keywords on the left of the slide there. First thing we're going to look at is visual fidelity. Now, you may recognize this from a little while ago when we were doing things like annotative scaling and so on, but it's also all about how one interface looks like another. So we want to make sure that the web interface of the web app is the same as your desktop interface. So it's a case of spot the difference. It is obvious which one is which. You can see that the left-hand picture there is obviously the web app, and the right-hand picture, you can see the ribbon there of AutoCAD 2021 desktop as well. But I want you to look at things like the grid lines and the dimensions and the grid bubbles and the stairs and the desks there. You can see that they are exactly the same, and that's that visual fidelity that's really important. because what you've got there in a browser is the same quality of visualization that you get in the desktop app as well. Signing into the AutoCAD web app couldn't be easier. It's in a browser. You go and pick your browser that you want to use, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge as well. I recommend that you always make sure you've got the latest version though, and it's a one-off URL, web.autocad.com. Easy to remember. Now, the web app interface, when you log in, file management is easy. You can upload files quickly and easily. You can set up new folders. You can set up new drawings. What's really nice though is you can always spot a DWG in your web app. You can see that little blue and yellow icon. You can see it there in some of the screenshots I've taken there, where you can see that you're looking at the files in the web app itself. And you'll notice there at the bottom of the slide, you've got the upload, the new folder, the new drawing as well. So the interface is really simplistic, really easy to get to grips with. Drafting in the AutoCAD web app, you'll recognize some of these icons straight away from your desktop app. So in the Draw tab, you've got rectangle, circle, arc, line, polyline, and hatch. And the web app development team have been busy, because I noticed when I logged in today, there are even more commands available on the Draw tab. You now have spline and X-line, the construction lines as well. Moving along to the Annotate tab, you've also got Measure, RevCloud, Dimension, MText, and Multi-Leader there. And in Annotate now as well, which isn't in the slide, you've got Viewports. That was another new one that I noticed today. And then moving along to the Modify, more commands in here, obviously, because you tend to spend a lot of your time modifying drawings, both in the desktop app and also in the web app as well. When you're working in the web app, you could be on site modifying drawings to as-built or something similar. And again, you'll see you've got a nice big long list of easily recognizable commands, things like move, rotate, extend, trim, and so on. There's also explode and erase. They're new, and the web app team have added those to the web app, and I noticed those today too. So they're keeping busy and they're developing the web app all the time. Now, let's have a little look at this. I'm going to run a little video now so that you can see how the visual fidelity and the interface and the drafting all work in the web app. So we'll be jumping into some videos as we go through the presentation. So I'm just going to literally jump in and hit the play button for you. And you'll see my little pointer move around. So you can see I'm jumping into the folder, finding my DWG file. And it's just a case, double click, and it opens up like so. And you can see we've got a drawing in there, a plan with the grids, the dimensions, and so on. If you look over on the left-hand side there, you can see all your tabs, views, properties, layers, and you can zoom in and zoom out just like you would in the desktop app. You'll notice panning there as well. The actions are exactly the same in the web app as they are in the desktop app. So I'll jump into the Draw tab and use the line command as you would normally when you're drafting and making changes. You'll notice it kicks in the command line as well. And you've got object snaps too. And you'll notice that the visual interface, the visual fidelity there is incredibly similar to the desktop app. So we're just drawing lines using our endpoint snaps and working our way through the drawing, making the changes that we need to make. So another line there, and what we're doing is we're tidying up the hot desking area in the plan. And you can see as I've come away there, press enter, and it ends the line command, just like the desktop app. And as you can see, I'm panning and zooming around the drawing. That functionality is exactly the same. It's the same mouse movements, it's the same moving up and down on the wheel, on the mouse, and so on. So I'm going to pop some multi-line text into the drawing now as well, and you'll recognize the box. There it is with the downward arrow, setting the area for the M text there. This is where it's slightly different though. I'm typing in my multi-line text in the little sort of entry box there, and you can see me typing in hot desk area 1, and I'm updating the text height, which I'm going to make to 150 because this drawing is in millimeters. And you can see it comes in, but it's got that gorgeous simplex font that we all know and love. So I jump into the Properties tab, I select my text, and it highlights with the grips as it does normally, and I can jump in there now and change my text style. And I can move to something like Arial, which has a font of the good old Arial font, and you can see it just looks much cleaner with an Arial font like that. And you can see that the actual visual fidelity of the text is the same as the desktop app as well. And moving along now, we'll add some more text. So we're going to jump into our modify, and we're going to copy our hot desk area 1. And again, pick box appears, you select the text, press enter to confirm, or confirm selection on the command line. And all I've got to do now is pick a point on the text. I'm not going to worry too much about an object snap. I'm going to use my polar tracking to move that across to the right and just click on a spot there like so, press enter to finish. And then it's just a case of editing the text. And again, it's just a double click on the text, just like it would be in the desktop app. So I'll change that to hot desk area 2, check that the height's okay, and tick the box. Job done. So you can see there that it's really easy to edit your annotation, edit your objects in your AutoCAD drawings when you're working in the web app. Very quick, very easy, and the best bit about it, that visual fidelity is exactly the same as your desktop app. So let's jump along now, and we'll move to the next slide. So the second thing I want to talk to you about is cloud-based storage. I'm pretty sure most of you are using this kind of thing already, so using something like Dropbox, or Box, or Google Drive, or Microsoft OneDrive. Now, the good thing is, Google Drive has now been added to the list of providers that work with the web app. And when you're working from the cloud, everything can be stored remotely. So you can add your cloud provider to the web app. It supports most major providers. You can see there we've got Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, and Google Drive. The best bit about that, though, is it frees up your local and server storage. It's anywhere access. You're storing it somewhere else remotely from your laptop, remotely from your server in the office. It's in the cloud and you can access it anywhere you want to. That's the best bit, the anywhere access. As I said, Google Drive is now available. So you can now easily access your DWGs in Google Drive as well. And we've now pretty much got the 4 main cloud-based providers at our disposal. Now, opening a DWG file from Google Drive, it's pretty much the same as if you'd kind of logged into the web app and we're just using the default settings. But what you've got to do is specify your provider. So I've got another little video here for you. Just hit the play button first. There we go. And we'll jump in. And you can see there's a DWG file in there. But more importantly, you'll notice on the left, it says Google Drive and Files. So these are my files stored in Google Drive. And you can see I can hyperlink to Google Drive. I can click on it on the menu on the left. It lets me know it's a Google Drive account, like so. And it's exactly the same as it would be if I'm using the regular web app settings. I just double click on the DWG file and it takes a few seconds to open up depending on your internet speed, and there's your drawing in Google Drive. And the good thing is at the top of the screen, you can see it's in Google Drive. You've even got a little Google Drive logo there, and it's telling you that it's in the Autodesk AutoCAD web app folder, and it's telling you the name of the DWG file that you've got open as well. And it's that quick and easy. It really is. You just make sure that you link your Google Drive to your web app and you can access those files. We also have, third point, easy access to model and layout tabs. We all know that when we're working in the desktop app, we do all of our design work in the model tab, and then we start generating our title blocks, our viewports in the layout tabs. That's the traditional way that AutoCAD has worked for many years. But what you can do is you can create new layouts to meet your needs in the web app as well. So you'll notice when you're in the Views tab on the left there, we've got the Model tab, we've got Layout 2, which is one of the default layout tabs, and we've also got an ISO A1 landscape PDF. That's my layout tab that I've set up. ISO A1 is a metric sheet size. It's in landscape orientation and it plots to PDF. So you can work with those views. You can work with your Model tab and any layout tab that you need to work with. You can also change object properties quickly and easily once you're in your model or layout tabs as well. You can work with things like the layer, the color, the line type scale, line weight, and transparency of objects in your DWG file when you're in the web app as well. Let's have a little look at that and see how all of that works. Again, jumping into another video for you here. So I'll hit the play button. And what we're going to have a look at now is the views and the properties. So in order to see our views, you'll be in the Views tab on the left-hand side. And you can see in this particular DWG, we've obviously got model. We kind of have to have that one. It's a given. But we've got a layout too, where the viewport is a little bit wonky and doesn't look quite right. And we've then got the ISO A1 landscape PDF, which is the page setup that came in from the desktop app. And you can see that's all zoomed in nicely in the viewport. We don't need layout 2, that's just a default one, so I can right click on it, delete it. Do I want to delete it? Yes, I do, so I just hit the delete button, and that gets taken out of our views listing there on the left-hand side. So we've then got our ISO A1 landscape PDF ready to go. We can jump back into the model tab to make design changes, and basically we can zoom in and zoom out and work in the drawing at our leisure very quickly and very easily. You'll notice like so. And what we're going to look at now is just how we change the properties and work with the properties. So we go to the properties tab on the left, and I can select an object, and you can see that desk there is a block reference, and it's on a particular layer, particular color. You can see the name of the block there, the scale X and Y. And also I can add objects. So if I pop a line in here and just jump from endpoint to endpoint very quickly, I'm not too worried about the actual layer or the settings of that line object. But when I select it, you can see it's selected with the blue grips, and you can see the line properties in the properties menu on the left-hand side as well. It's very quick and easy. And what I really love about the web app interface for views and properties is everything's on the screen in front of you. You can't miss it. It's always there. And it's just a case of clicking on an object and you can see the properties straight away, as long as you've got that properties tab set up as the current tab on the left-hand side. Command line. Now, I'm an old school AutoCAD user, and I always use the command line in the AutoCAD desktop app. Now, your command line is in there in the web app as well. It's AutoCAD, and it's in a browser. So your command line is in the browser as well. What's available on the command line? Well, we have our good old suggestion menu, where we can type just a few letters of the beginning of a command, and it'll let you know what commands are available. You can see that in the lower of the two images there. So I've typed line, and you can see it's given me all the commands I can use that actually have the letters L-I-N-E in them. You've also got keyboard shortcuts. So I could type PL for polyline and press enter, and it would kick in the polyline command. You'll notice in all of the commands though, you've got the escape button on the command line. And also when you're in a command context, you've got the undo option. You'll notice there undo in the line command in the upper of the two images in the slide. If you want more commands in the AutoCAD web app, let the web app team know. Get onto those forums, get onto the web app development team, become a beta tester if you want to as well. Join the AutoCAD community and beta test the web app. I do that. I've been doing it for the last few years, and it's good fun. It's good fun to see things that you've talked about and developed in beta coming into the product, like the drafting commands I mentioned earlier. Polyline, you'll notice there. So we've got the polyline, you've got the suggestion menu. I mentioned the PL there. I've typed PL, and you can see that it's come up on the suggestion menu, and the keyboard shortcut obviously is PL and then enter. You'll notice you've got the arc and undo options when you're in the polyline command, and you've got the good old escape button on the command line as well. It's the same with the rectangle command. You'll notice you've got the suggestion menu, the keyboard shortcuts. You've also got a dimensions button that you can click on and specify the dimensions on the command line of your rectangle. You've also got the escape button as well. You'll notice as well though on that upper of the two images that I can enter the dimensions of the rectangle visually on the screen using the dynamic input as well. Let's have a little look how polyline and rectangle work in our drawing. We're back in the same DWG file in the web app, and I'm just going to hit play to run the video quickly. And what you'll find is when you're working with commands such as polyline and rectangle in the AutoCAD web app, it's actually quick and easy. You zoom into where you want to go. So we're zooming in just into the entrance hall area there of the building. And we're going to create a polyline on the floor to kind of represent a distance to step away from the door. It might be in the current coronavirus situation, a social distancing floor marking perhaps. So I'm going into the draw tab, and as you can see there, I'm selecting P-line, polyline, and we're going to work our way through generating a polyline on the floor there. And all we're going to do is use our object snaps. So there's an endpoint snap that I'm going to click on. Moving along to the next endpoint snap, and I click again, just like you would in the desktop app. I can then very happily come down to arc on the command line. Bear in mind, it's also got the right click shortcut menu to do that as well. And as I come down, I'm utilizing my object snap tracking to get the end of that arc. And I'm selecting line on the command line, going back into line mode in the polyline command. And I'm coming up to the point where I started, and you'll notice I'm going to right click now and close the shape. So that is now a closed polyline. And I can check that really quickly by going into properties on the tab there and selecting the polyline. And you can see it's got polyline properties and it's got its length and its area. And yes, it is closed, showing there in the properties listing on the screen. And again, I can just hit escape now on the keyboard if I want to deselect that. And then I might jump into the rectangle command, very quick and easy in the web app, exactly the same workflow as you have in the desktop app. I pick a start point of the rectangle, so it's a left click, and then I drag, and you can see the dimensions appearing automatically around the rectangle on the screen. Now I could have clicked on the dimensions button on the command line, but I'm actually entering those on the screen using the dynamic input, and every time I enter a dimension, I'm hitting the tab key to lock them both down. And then all I've got to do there is left click and confirm to AutoCAD that that's my rectangle. And I've drawn a table perhaps in the entrance area there as part of the entrance foyer of the building. Very quick and easy. And you can see that the workflow is pretty much exactly the same as the desktop app. So let's jump out of our video and we'll move on to item number 5, layer away. Easy locking, coloring, and visibility of layers. Layers are fundamental in AutoCAD. I can remember working with thousands of layers when I worked in industry on various projects, and you want to be able to lock those layers, color them so that they stand out, and also check the visibility of the layers, and also make sure that they're doing what they should in the drawing itself. So there's an entire layers tab on the left-hand side menu, as you can see there. So when you click on layers, you get a big long list of all your layers available in your DWG file in the AutoCAD web app. So to lock a layer, you simply hover over the layer name. You can see it's a dim layer there, and you'll see that a little padlock symbol kind of highlights. You can just click on that and then that stays switched on. So if you see any layers with a padlock next to them, you know that they're locked. It's the same with visibility as well. Again, you hover over the layer and you can see there's a little light bulb icon there. You just click on that light bulb icon, and when it's on, you know that the layer is actually switched off in the DWG file. When you don't see a light bulb icon, you know that the layer is on in the DWG file. New layers, there's a create new at the bottom of the layers area in the menu, and you just click on create new, and just like the desktop app, it starts at layer 1. You put your layer name in, and be careful there, when you do put your layer name in, it will automatically put it down the alphanumeric list. So you might think to yourself, where has my layer gone? Just use the slider bar on the right of the layer menu, and you'll be able to slide up and down to find your new layer name. What I'll do now though, just to show you how that works, that's sliding up and down to find your layer name, we'll just jump in and have a look at how the layers work in a DWG file in the web app. So we're in the same drawing, same DWG file, but I'm in the layers tab there on the left-hand side. So you can see our big long list of layers there. And if I use the slider bar, you can see we can slide up and down and find all the layers available to us in the drawing itself. So you'll notice there, for example, that room layer has the light bulb icon. That indicates that that layer is currently off in the DWG file. So I'm going to look at my dimensions layer there, and you'll notice that it's red at the moment. I want to change that to make it the purple color that the grid lines are. And there's the layers available in the drawing. I find the color to match it, which is actually color 191. So all I've got to do there is click on that, and it all matches and looks consistent in the drawing itself. Very quick and easy to change colors, very similar again to the desktop app. And also as well, you might want to then lock that layer to make sure that nobody edits those particular dimensions on the drawing. So when I select that dimension, you'll notice there's no grips. That indicates to me that I can't edit that particular dimension. So that means that those dimensions are locked down, and I have to go and unlock them if I do want to make any subsequent changes. But you'll notice that the icons stay lit up in the layer listing. And then if I don't want those dimensions on the drawing, again, you'll see I've switched the layers off and then on again by clicking on the little light bulb icon. Very quick, very easy. And that's how you work with your layers in the web app. Again, incredibly similar to the workflow in the desktop app. Now we're going to have a little look now at settings in the AutoCAD web app. Now the settings are really important. And what we've got to look at here is making sure that we're setting things up appropriately to work in the web app itself. The settings icon is in the top right of the AutoCAD web app screen. It's a little gear wheel. That's why I've put that great big red arrow there so that you can't miss it. It's that little gear wheel at the top right of the screen. When you click on it, it brings up this dialog box with the settings at the top. So it's called the settings dialog box. And you can see that we can set things in there like tracking, object snaps, units, and navigation. And I want to take you through these and show you how these work. It's really important that you get these settings correct, but more importantly, ideally, you want them to match your settings that you're using in your desktop app as well. So that when you jump from one to the other, you've kind of got that sort of peace of mind knowing that you've got the same object snaps running in both. It's actually really easy to set up. You click on the little gear wheel and off you go. And I'm going to show you how that works now on the screen in a video as well, just so you've got a visual idea of how it works when you do sign into AutoCAD web app yourselves. So I'm going to hit the play button, another video for you. I click on the gear wheel and there's the settings dialog box. So you can see it defaults to object snap. Now these are your running object snaps, the ones that are on all the time in your drawing. So they're the ones that you would always have as your go-to snap. So you've got endpoint, intersection, extension, and center switched on in this particular case. And I can switch any of these off and on just by clicking on the little box, and the little tick will appear to indicate that it's on. If there's no tick, it's obviously off. So that's your object snaps. Tracking in this case is your polar tracking. And again, you can switch it off and on. And the increment there is the angle that you are using for your polar tracking. So we might, for example, move from the default of 90 to having an angle increment of 45 degrees. Already set up the object snaps, and the units are important here as well. So linear is for lengths and angular is for angles, kind of self-explanatory, but it's got all the same unit display settings as the desktop app. So I tend to use decimal most of the time, and you can see my precision there is 2 decimal places. You can go all the way down to 8 decimal places if you wish. It's entirely up to you, but 2 tends to be my standard setting. And then you've got degrees, minutes and seconds, all the way down to surveyor's units. Again, the same display settings as the desktop app. So decimal degrees, my standard setting there is normally 2 times what I use for linear, so it would be 4 decimal places. Now, navigation is a bit of an interesting one because you don't get this on the desktop app. Your standard zoom direction in AutoCAD desktop app is the zooming in and out that you normally are used to. That's the standard setting in the web app. But if you want to reverse that, you can, and you can just set it to reverse if you wish. So what we've got there is how to set up those settings very quickly and easily in the web app. Now, we've talked about sort of generic settings in the web app. What about drafting settings? Things like you see on your status bar down in that bottom right corner of your desktop app normally. So what you've got available in the web app is you've got your coordinates, you've got OSNAP, your object snaps, you've got object snap tracking, you've got ortho, orthogonal, and you've got polar, which is your tracking that we talked about a moment ago in the settings. And we've got the good old burger icon, as I call it, the same as the desktop. That's those little 3 dots, bottom right corner there. Now, in your desktop app, they're like 3 little lines, which is why they're jokingly called the burger icon. But what we can do here, if you look at the image there in the slide, is we can go in and we can switch on these different drafting settings and have them displaying on the status bar. But more importantly, when they are displayed, we can go in and edit the settings. So again, another video for you, and I'm just going to jump in and hit play like so. So I'm going to come down to the burger icon and click. And when I click, you can see that all of them are switched on at the moment. Coordinates, I can turn it off, click again, turn it on again. Object snaps, I can turn it off, turn it on again. And then I click on the little 3 dots to lose that menu. And you can see now that I can go into OSNAPs or object snaps, and you can see my running object snaps are the ones that are ticked with the blue ticks. Very quick and easy, and I can switch, say, midpoint on if I want to use that as well as a running object snap. hit the little fly out arrow, and I lose the menu. O-Track is simply an on-off toggle, as it is in the desktop app, same as Ortho, it's just an on-off toggle there. And you'll notice that Polar switches off when you switch Ortho on. And you'll notice you've got a little fly out menu there on the Polar as well, which allows you to change your angle increment if you need to. Notice you can also set that in the settings on the little gear wheel at the top of the screen in the web app, like I mentioned earlier as well. So, number 6. Yes, snap overrides. They are available in the web app, and they allow you to override those running object snaps when you need to. Now, I use snap overrides constantly, especially when I'm creating video learning content for LinkedIn Learning. Snap overrides are my go-to snaps. So I have a minimum number of running object snaps, and then my snap overrides allow me to override those and go to any snap I want to on the list. And it is all on that right click. Now, just be aware there's a little workflow here in the web app that is subtly different to your AutoCAD desktop app. It is simply a right click. There's no shift and right click like there is in the desktop app. It's just a right click, menu comes up, you select snap overrides, and off you go. It's on the shortcut menu, on the right click on the mouse, and it includes all of your object snaps. And you override the running object snaps just like the desktop. And you can see them all listed nicely there in your list, ready to go. And again, we're back to another video. And what I want to show you here is how the snap overrides work. I really think this is rather slick, actually, in the web app. It works really well. It's a nice, quick, easy to understand right-hand click menu as well. So let's run the video for you. And we'll hop in and get that running. And you'll notice I'm jumping down there and I'm just checking what is available in my running object snaps. So what I'm going to do now is start drawing some elements in the drawing and start placing some objects using my object snaps. So down to the draw tab there, click on the line command. And I'm basically going to draw a line and utilize my object snaps accordingly, but I just right click. So I can use a snap override straight away. Midpoint is not one of my running object snaps. So now I'm using a snap override of midpoint, and I'm coming across using my object snap tracking to get that intersection, enter to finish, and I've drawn my line. Quick and easy using the snap overrides. Now, if I come down to the OSnap again here, you can see that I've got various ones switched on. What happens if I turn one of those off? Let's say intersection. So if I turn that off and then come down and hit the little fly out arrow there and switch it off again. So intersection is now not a running object snap anymore. So I'm going to go to my line command again. And what I want now is a line coming off of the midpoint of the line I've already drawn. So it's a right click, snap overrides, midpoint. And that is now my snap override. It finds the midpoint for me. And I'm coming off of that midpoint now, and I want a nearest snap made available to me on that grid line. I don't want to go to the end point there on the orange line. I want to go to that grid line and place that line. So again, I'm right clicking, snap overrides, and I now use the nearest override snap, which is up near the top there, quick and easy. And again, visual fidelity, we're coming back to all the snaps look the same as the desktop app. It's that quick and it's that easy. That's how those snap overrides work. And they are a pleasure to work with because they're just like your desktop app. There's no transition to think about. You can jump straight into the web app and work with those snap overrides straight away. Now, I work with a lot of blocks. I work with a lot of external reference files, the XREF, and they are both supported in the web app, which means you've got the functionality you need for content reuse. You can use your blocks, you can use your reference files. And the benefit you have in the web app is you've got a blocks palette. Now, in later versions of the desktop app, you've got the blocks palette in there as well. And you can see it looks remarkably similar. And what's lovely about the web app is you've got the blocks tab on the left-hand menu on the left-hand side. So there's block support in the DWG file that you've got open in the web app. You've got blocks libraries that can be stored in the cloud because we've got cloud support as well. And it coordinates with the desktop. So if you think about it, if you're using a cloud-based repository for your blocks, you can access that both in your desktop app, but also you can be anywhere you want to be with the web app, and you can coordinate with the same blocks you're using in the desktop by using your blocks library in the cloud. So you'll notice there in the two images, the left-hand image is the blocks in the current drawing. The right-hand image is libraries, and you can see we're using a standard blocks.dwg file, and that is the cloud-based blocks library that I've set up that everybody can use when they're using desktop app or web app. The XREF support is great as well. It's just like in the desktop. So you've got the XREF support in the DWG files. So you'll notice there, XREF tab in the menu on the left, and you can see there that the XREF is highlighted by the little dash line. So it's all that furniture in the entrance area of the building. And you can see that the XREF file there is called entrance furniture _ layout.dwg. And you can see the status is resolved, i.e. it's found the XREF. You've got the size of the XREF, it's an attachment, and it's found at such and such a location, indicating a relative XREF file path. So it's quick and easy, and it's just like the desktop. You can attach an XREF to your DWG file in the web app itself. So let's have a little look at these blocks and XREFs and see how they work in the web app itself. So you can see we're in a drawing, and I've got the video ready to go for you, and I'm going to hit the play button. So you can see we've got a block there that represents a door and a door opening. And you can see there that I can select it. And if I go to properties on the tabs there, it tells me it's a block reference, gives me the layer, the color, the line type, etc. And again, I've got a sofa there. Again, it's a block reference, gives me the name, the scale, the rotation, the insertion point, and so on, just like in the desktop app. So if I go back to blocks now, the blocks that I've got available here are the ones available in the current DWG file. They're the ones that have been saved with that DWG file. And I can create a new block if I want to, and you'll notice I've got the slider bar there, like with the layers, where I can just slide up and down and find a block that I want to insert into my DWG file. If I go to libraries, you can see we've got standard blocks.dwg, and there's a location there for it. These are blocks that are stored in a DWG elsewhere in the cloud. But the benefit I've got there is everybody's got access to those because they're all in a cloud-based location. So I can coordinate with the desktop app with the people back in the office. Now you'll notice there, you'll see all of those bits of furniture that are being clicked on down there in the entrance foyer are all individual blocks. But what about XREF support? Maybe I want to bring in an XREF that I can put on top of those blocks. So you'll notice there, I've got entrance furniture layout, the one that I mentioned earlier. And all we do there is we select that file and click on attach. Now, all I'm going to do here is use 00 as the point where the XREF is inserted, and I've set it up that way. So I type in 0,0, you'll notice on the command line, press enter, and that just drops into the DWG file. And you can see it's slightly faded. But if I actually zoom in now and select that furniture, like so, you'll see it's all one XREF. And you'll notice there, it's telling me that it's got external reference properties, the layer it's on, and so on. And it's very quick and easy to do. But the best bit about that is you've got that XREF support available to you in your web app drawings. Moving along now, we're going to look now at how all the AutoCAD tools work together. Now, I've talked mainly about the web app and mentioned the desktop app as well. Now, there's going to be a case where obviously you're going to be working out on site, perhaps using the web app. You've got internet coverage, you jump into your browser and edit your DWG file. But don't forget, before you go out on site, you want to be able to save your DWG files to the cloud so that the web app can gain access to those DWG files. So how does that work? Well, you'll notice when you open up your AutoCAD desktop application, on the quick access toolbar, there are two new icons. They've been around for the last few versions of the desktop app. And they are what they call Save to AutoCAD Web and Mobile and Open from AutoCAD Web and Mobile. So when you use them, there'll be a little desktop driver installation. Small, quick and easy. It lasts about 30 seconds and it's a one-time install. You might possibly get some updates to that if a new version comes out, but it's a really quick and easy installation. And what you've got is these AutoCAD Web and Mobile folders are your own little centralized cloud location that is specific to you and your Autodesk account. So when you're in your desktop app and you sign in to your Autodesk account in the desktop app, you'll have access to AutoCAD Web and Mobile. which means you can save and open from AutoCAD Web and Mobile using these little dialog boxes that pop up when you click on the respective icons. You can then also save back to the desktop from the web app using Save or Save As. And you can save back to Web and Mobile, the standard settings that I've just mentioned, or don't forget, if you're running in, say, Google or Dropbox or OneDrive, you can save back to your cloud provider as well and go into the drawings via your desktop app that way too. So how does that work? Well, Web and Mobile, when you head back to the desktop, is very quick and easy. Like you can see there in the lower left part of the slide, you can see the desktop app, see the quick access toolbar, you can see the two little icons there on the quick access toolbar that allow you to use Web and Mobile. Make sure that you see the most recent drawing changes made in the web app. So if you save as a new revision of a drawing, such as Rev 1 as highlighted in the slide there, you can open that up in your desktop app when you've made the changes in the web app. Be aware that Web and Mobile, the update 3.0.27 came out only a week or so ago, so you might get an update kicking in if you've been using Web and Mobile in your desktop app as well. Again, we have another little video here for you just to see how you save in the AutoCAD web app first. So we've got our drawing open, and what happens if I hit the back button in the browser? It tells me that there are unsaved changes in the DWG in the web app. So I can return to the drawing and I can go up to the save icon, which is top right of the web app screen. And you can see it up there next to the little gear wheel where you change your settings. So you've got save, and if you just click on save, it's like a quick save, same as the desktop app. I can also do a save as. So now I'm saving to AutoCAD Web and Mobile. And you can see there that I've got the name of the file at the bottom there of the dialog box. So I'll just add the new revision number, which is going to be underscore Rev2 for revision 2. And all I've got to do there is hit save. I click on save and job done. It's now saved and it updates. You'll notice at the top of the screen there, it's now the Rev2 drawing. So I've now saved that in AutoCAD Web and Mobile. And I've got this really bad habit. I will now go to save, click on save and make sure I've done that and do a quick save as well. So you can see the Q save kick in on the command line in the web app. It's just a little habit I've got into over the years just to make sure that I have saved that file with that particular file name. So when you click on save, like I mentioned, it's like a Q save. It's a Q save just like the AutoCAD desktop app. So let's head back to the desktop now. We've saved our drawing at revision 2 in the web app. So I've now got AutoCAD 2021 open. You'll notice in the top right of the screen there, you can just see CAD FM Consultants and the little blue sort of head and shoulders icon there. That means I'm actually logged into my Autodesk account, which means I've got access to AutoCAD Web and Mobile, that little sort of bit of the cloud-based space that's all mine based on my Autodesk account. So let's run the video and see how we can open up a file that we've just saved in the web app, but opening it now in the desktop app. So I go to open from Web and Mobile on the quick access toolbar. There's the dialog box, and I go to the folder where my drawings are, double click there, and there's my Rev2 drawing. I select it, down to the open button, click on it, and you'll see that my Rev2 drawing opens up in the desktop app quickly and easily. And any changes I've made in the web app will now be reflected in this revision 2 of the drawing. So I zoom extent and I'm ready to start drafting in the desktop app this time. Communicating your design with others is extremely important. Communicating that design intent to let people know what your design does, how it's going to be built, what color it is, what size it is really important. One of the things you can do with the web app is plot to PDF. So you've got your communication and your collaboration kicking in now. So you can plot from the web app quickly and easily. It only plots to PDF, the PDF format, the good old Adobe portable document format. And you can also plot your model tab or your layouts that you've got set up in your DWG file in the web app. You'll notice in the slide that the little printer icon to plot to PDF is in the top right corner of the web app screen. And when you click on it, your little dialog box pops up, plot to PDF. It asks you what to print. In this case, it might be my current layout, and there's the settings for my current layout. Scale 1:1, plot style is monochrome, paper size and orientation. I then just hit the plot to PDF button and off it goes. It plots to PDF and I save that PDF in a known location. And you'll notice there, communicating design intent. It will tell you that your PDF is ready, and you can see there that you just download the PDF and store it wherever it needs to go. And as you can see, just underneath that, you can see I've got a drawing open there in Adobe Acrobat DC, as it's called now. And I've got my drawing open, and you can see the resolution is really nice and clean using that monochrome CTB color table setting in your web app to plot to PDF as well. It's really, really nice, and it does kick out some really nice drawings. I've been using that quite a lot recently, and the PDFs that are generated from the web app are nice and clean and are exactly the same quality as the desktop app. So let's have a look at how we communicate our design intent. I'm not going to expect you to watch me saving a PDF, but I just want to take you through visually where you find the buttons and how they work within the web app. So I'm just going to run a very, very short video. You'll notice there that I'm in the Views tab, and there's my ISO A1 Landscape PDF. There's the layout properties that are set with that particular layout tab. I can change the paper size if I want to. And then all I do is hit the plot to PDF icon. There's the plot to PDF dialog, and I select the setting, current layout, or whatever I want it set to. There's all the settings that I want to use, and I just simply hit the plot to PDF button. Now, it's part of your AutoCAD subscription. So like I said, if you are using the AutoCAD with Specialized Toolset subscription, you get the AutoCAD web app with that. So you can go and check it out at any time just by going and looking and signing in with your Autodesk account. Also, in the current coronavirus COVID-19 scenario that we're in at the moment, it's also part of the extended access program. So make sure you check out the AutoCAD web app. All it needs is for you to go to that URL, web.autocad.com, and you can see there that you just sign in with the credentials that you use with your Autodesk account. And you can then start creating drawings in AutoCAD in a browser. It's very quick and easy. Don't forget you've got the help screen as well. So if there's anything you're not sure of, you can jump into the help screen and interrogate it, search for what you want. What I love is they've created a Hitchhiker's Guide to the AutoCAD web app in the same way that there's a Hitchhiker's Guide for the desktop app. It's one of my favorite parts of the help screens for AutoCAD. But you can see as well, you can go to basics, geometry, modify, etc. Don't forget as well, you have the Autodesk Knowledge Network, the AKN, which is at knowledge.autodesk.com. And you can see there that you can search for functionality in the AutoCAD web app as well. Make sure you are logged in with your Autodesk account as well, because you can potentially create favorites and things there and save them so that you can go back to them again later. You also have the good old Autodesk forums, which are good fun as well. You can get in there again with your Autodesk account, ask questions, reply to questions. I'm an Autodesk expert elite, so you'll often find me in there moderating and answering questions, especially about AutoCAD and the AutoCAD web app as well. What I'll do now is I'll hand back over to Kayla, and thank you very much for listening.
Great, thank you for that presentation, Shaun.
Hoping we've got lots of nice, interesting questions to answer too.
We do. Someone's interested in Hatch if you want to demo that in real time.
I can do. I'll get the web app up and running. I'm all ready to go with the hatching.
Excellent. I just had someone ask if this is available for AutoCAD LT users, and it is included.
It is, yeah. We can all see the screen, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so what I've done, it's the same drawing I've used in the presentation. Obviously, we're using the web app live now. You can see up there in my browser, there's my URL for me actually being in a drawing, editing it in the web app. So I've picked a layer, just a sort of pinky kind of colored layer there, and I'm jumping into the draw tab, click on hatch, and I've got hatch patterns, and I can specify properties, select objects, draw boundaries, remove boundaries, and so on. So I've got the draw order. Is it behind or in front of the objects that are already on the screen? Do I want it to be annotative? I can change the hatch color, the layer, and the transparency. So you'll notice that it all tends to pop up in the command line. There's no sort of like ribbon at the top like there is in the desktop app. So you'll notice there the current hatch pattern is ANSI 31, the good old cross hatch there. And as I come in now, you'll see that it's highlighting that like so. There's the area there that I'm going to hatch. Now you'll notice it's quite dense at the moment. And what I can do there is I can just click in there and my hatch is in there like so. And what I do now is I just confirm that. So it's hatched like so. Now you'll notice it's only hatched the area on the left. One thing I have found with the web app is sometimes it does highlight more than one area, but that happens in the desktop app as well. You'll notice sometimes when you're hatching, you hover over one area and place the crosshair in the hatch boundary and it highlights the area next to it. But when you click, it actually does hatch the area that you want hatched. It's just a graphical thing, and don't be perturbed by it if it does happen. Now, obviously our hatch there, if I select it, he says it's just trying to get in there to get on the edge of it now. Let's do it slightly differently. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll just remove that grid from the selection set like so. So I've got my hatch selected. If I now go over here to properties, there's my hatch properties like so. And you can see the scale is set to a default of 1, which on a metric millimeters drawing is a little bit on the small side. So let's change that scale there to something in the region of 10. Press enter. And you just keep changing that scale, obviously, until it suits. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with like what looks like a solid fill. So let's try 50. That should work. And you can see the resolution is starting to change. And again, it's that black art of hatching. You want to make sure that that scale works. So I'm working up from 50 now. So let's try 150. And there you go. It's gradually figuring itself out, but it does take a little bit of time, just like it does in the desktop as well. So you want to make sure that scale works. I'm going to try 500. That would probably be a more sensible number there. And there you go. There's the ANSI 31. As you can see, hit escape to deselect, and I've hatched that area nice and quickly and easily. And it's the usual black art of hatching though. It's the same in the desktop app. You play around with that hatch scale until it actually looks sensible on your drawing.
Thank you, Shaun. I realize we're at time. I do want to answer a couple more questions, so we'll go a little bit over for those who can stay on, but I want to also be respectful for those who have to jump off at this time. We did have a question about a few questions actually about it only supporting 2D. Just wanted to confirm that only supports.
Yeah, it does at present. I would love it to support 3D. That would be lots of fun. But bear in mind, you are running AutoCAD technology in a browser. You are only going to be as fast and as quick as the internet connection and the browser itself. When you're running the desktop app, that's when you've got all that power and technology under the hood, so to speak. You can obviously have a super duper graphics card and work in 3D and render and so on. The idea of the web app is it allows you, like I said, when you're out on site, perhaps to jump in and make those quick little changes to your plans like I've done in the presentation. Something you will notice, there's a new feature top right though. If you are in the web app, you can go to open in desktop and open this particular drawing in your desktop app if you want to. I won't run that now, obviously, because it'll all jump around and change things, and we're talking about the web app today.
Great, thank you. We had a question about when you accessing the layer tab, is the search magnifying glass available? It's useful when knowing a partial layer name.
So let's jump into layers like so. And as you can see there, all I've got is the slider bar. So you can see there, I can come down here and it's just a case of sliding up and down. There doesn't tend to be a search option yet. However, again, like I said about commands and so on, if you want that search box at the top, let's ask them for it. Let's ask the web app development guys now while we're online. We'd like to see a search bar there at the top of the layers panel.
Great, thank you. And there's a question I wanted to address about the web app being available for students. So it is available for students right now as part of the Extended Access Program. It's important to note, though, that we are considering student access going forward. Yeah.
Excellent. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. There was a question about if the drawing is not in the cloud, where does it need to be located on the local computer you are using?
Okay, so if you're using your desktop app, the regular AutoCAD, obviously it might be on your C drive, it might be on your D drive, it might be on your server. It's going to be in a known physical location. So if you want to make sure that your drawings are available for the web app, you want to make sure in the desktop app you are signed in to your Autodesk account, and you want to go to the quick access toolbar and you want to use the save to web and mobile icon. That will then save it to your localized little bit of the cloud that is accessible through your Autodesk account. Then when you sign into the web app and you go into the list of drawings that appear, you'll see that it says AutoCAD Web and Mobile on the left-hand side of the screen. If I jump into here, like saying, see, look, I've got all my settings here, but if I go to the home at the top, I'm not going to worry about the changes there, but you can see that AutoCAD Web and Mobile. So that if you save the drawing to Web and Mobile from the desktop app, when you go into the web app, it'll be in here. And don't forget, you can generate new folders, you can create new drawings from scratch in the web app, and you can upload existing drawings if you want to as well from known locations. So you can upload drawings from, perhaps if you're in the web app on your desktop PC, you can upload the drawing that way, or you can upload it, as I said, from things like Google Drive and Dropbox as well, if you need to.
Great, thank you. And then our final question for today, are palettes also possible with the web app?
Are we talking tool palettes and the like? Yes.
That's all the information I was given on that one.
Okay. At the moment, no. Again, it's another feature that I would love to see. I'd love to see tool palettes made available in the web app. That would be great. And also it would be even better, just so the web app development team know, to have exportable tool palettes as well. That would be very cool.
Thank you, Shaun, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you learned something about the AutoCAD web app.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been good fun.
Thanks. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye for now.